What's up, guys? My name's Amanda.
My name is Emily, and welcome to our channel, Gale Twins. Today, we are going to show you how to store your rods and reels for basic everyday use. This is another one of our episodes of learning in under 5 simple things that you guys can learn in less than 5 minutes to help you moving forwards in your fishing careers, whether they're recreational or not. Clearly, you can see we have a very small portion of our rods here right now. And a few things that we're going to talk about is things that will benefit your rods when you use them daily and you just put them away. This is not long-term winter storage, taking the handles off, greasing them. This is just everyday things that you should do when you're done fishing.
The first point that we want to make today is how to store your hook on your rod. I see everybody, or a lot of people, not everybody, storing their hooks on the guides like this. So that's really not something you want to do because it can scratch the guide on your rod, and over time what that's going to do is, let's say you're fishing and your line is rubbing on this scratch. It can break your line, you can lose your fish, your guides can pop out, you're adding a lot of pressure and the guides can pop out. I would say that the guides seem to be the one thing that breaks most often for us on our fishing rods. So just don't store them on your guides. That's just a big no-no. Where you do want to store them, you want to store them right here. Can you take a look at this? You want to store it right here on the edge of your guide. You see that's a very good spot to store your hook. It's not damaging anything, it's out of the way, and if you do scratch your rod here, it's really not a big deal. Another good option is to store your hook on the line. If you guys can see that, this is also a great place to store your hook. It's also a good place to store your snap swivels. A third option is to store your hook on the reel. This will scratch your reel over time if you do care, but that just means it's loved and you're using it. This is a very safe place to store your hook. You're not damaging it, you're not doing anything that's going to hurt your reel in the long run. So you just got off the boat and you're done fishing, you stored your hook away properly. The next thing you want to do is you want to rinse your rods and your reels lightly with some fresh water. I wouldn't throw soap in there, nothing like that, just some fresh water. You want to spray your rod lightly. You don't want to push aggressive force with fresh water on here because it's going to force that salt into your reel and you're more likely to have problems with corrosion. Once you rinse your rod and your reel, you're going to want to dry it with a rag or a chamois. That is something that I will be the first one to say that I hardly ever do that because we're using them almost every day, but it is something that you do want to do and it will make a difference in the length and the lifetime of your reels. Another big point is the drag. So you don't want to store your drag. Let's say you're fishing and you caught a really big shark and your drag was really, really tight. So there's a lot of mechanics inside of your reel and you're putting a lot of pressure on the drag, on the springs, on everything inside your reel when you keep that drag tight. So let's say I have my drag really tight, I forget about it, I put my reel away for a month, 2 months. You're putting so much pressure on the mechanics. What you really want to do is loosen your drag. That is something that we do every day. When we're done fishing, we loosen the drag all the way and then put our rods away. By loosening the drag, you're releasing any pressure and you're just really, to me, that is the most important thing to making your reels last a lifetime. Loosen that drag, there's no point in keeping it tight. The last and final point, you do not want to be leaning your rods up against a wall, up against a chair. For one, if it falls, it's more likely to break, to scratch, to dent. You could fracture it and not know you fractured it. Next thing you know, you got a fish on and the rod breaks. You want to store your rods in a designated rod holder. It keeps them upright. As you can see, they're not touching each other. Nothing's going to harm them, but on top of it all, the rod's not going to warp. So if you have this in your garage, you have it bending against a wall, it can warp. So keep them upright. There's no pressure on my rod. There's no pressure on my reel with the drag, and the hook is just resting lightly. And by having no pressure on my reel, the hook's not going to be pulling on any parts of my rod that I have my hook set up. Thanks for watching another episode of Learning in Under 5. If you guys have anything else that you want to see or learn in 5 minutes or less, or there are things we can do in 10 minutes or more, let us know. Leave it in the comments. We hope you enjoyed this video. We hope it was helpful. Go ahead and follow Gale Twins on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Thanks, guys.